Let's talk about non-forfeiture options. This only applies on permanent insurance, so doesn't apply to term insurance. So you have a customer who comes in and has, for example, say a whole life policy. That's a form of permanent insurance. Remember, permanent means you've got coverage all the way out to age 100. But they come to you and say, look, I either don't need it, I can't afford the premiums, what are my choices? What should I do with this policy? The first choice is to do a cash surrender. So what they would do is ask to surrender the policy. Whatever the cash value of the policy is, that dollar amount of money would be sent to the customer. Policy is done. He or she no longer has a death benefit, right? The policy is done. Remember also, when you do a cash surrender, some of the money that is paid out to the customer is going to be actually a return of the premium dollars that they paid into the cash value. That portion would not be taxable to them because it was after-tax money. They'd already paid tax on it. But the part that comes to them as growth or earnings from the cash value is going to be taxable at their ordinary income rate in the year that they take that surrender, because remember, the growth has been deferred while it's been inside the contract. Well, now that the contract is canceled and it's paid out to you, you will have to pay tax on that portion of the payout. And remember, it's always taxed at your ordinary income rate, your tax rate. It's not ever taxed as capital gains. It has nothing to do with capital gains. Now, the second choice you could talk to a client about is called extended term. What they would do, the insurance company would surrender the old policy, keep the cash value with them, buy a term policy, term insurance, annual renewable term insurance, which means it's going to increase the cost every year, right? But they would buy an annual renewable term policy in the same death benefit amount that the original whole life policy had. So if it was a $50,000 policy, they would buy a $50,000 term policy. So you keep the same death benefit on the extended term. But because it is term insurance, it's going to become more and more expensive every year because it's annual renewable. It goes up because you're a year older. So you could outlive the policy because it's only going to be paid for until the cash values are done. And then once the cash values have been used up, then the policy will be over. So you as the insured could end up living far beyond the length of this annual renewable term policy, but you would have the same death benefit while it's in force. The third option is called reduced paid up insurance. This keeps the original whole life policy. They reduce down the death benefit, and it can be really significantly lowered, but they're going to reduce the death benefit down till they get to a point where the cash value, the total cash surrender value, can pay up that policy with a one-time single premium of the cash value. The policy is the same whole life policy, so it's permanent. It goes out to age 100. So this is the choice that gives them coverage all the way out to age 100, and it is whole life. It's permanent insurance. It's just a much smaller death benefit. So those are the three choices: cash surrender value, extended term, or reduced paid up. Test question could be, which one of those options gives you the longest coverage? That would be reduced paid up because it goes all the way to age 100. It's permanent. Whereas what gives you the best death benefit or the highest death benefit? That would be the extended term because they match the death benefit from the old whole life policy. So those are some of the concept questions that you want to be aware of. And that is non-forfeiture options. Take a look at this table of guaranteed values. This is an illustration of the different non-forfeiture options. For example, come down to the orange bar where it says year 7, and it shows you that if you surrendered this $50,000 whole life policy, your cash value would be $2,750. That's what you would be paid if you did the first option of surrendering the policy. That's what you would be paid. Some of that would be taxable, some of that would not. That's the first choice. Now, if you look at the middle section there, the reduced paid up, this is where they keep the whole life policy that you start with. They lower the death benefit down. In this case, they lower it from $50,000 all the way down to $9,400 of death benefit. And then they take that cash value amount of $2,750 and they do a single premium and paid that smaller death benefit up. So you have coverage all the way to age 100, just a much smaller, reduced death benefit. Now, if you look to the far right, the extended term, if they took that cash value of $2,750, it would buy a term policy that would last for 11 years and 52 days. That's how much death benefit with a $50,000 death benefit. That's how long the coverage would last with that $2,750 being used to pay premiums. 11 years and 52 days. So you can see you have the longest coverage on the reduced paid up because it goes all the way out to age 100. You have the same matching death benefit as the original policy on the extended term, but it just doesn't last as long. Understand those concepts for the non-forfeiture options.